Let's cut directly to the core of the issue. For the better part of 5 years, the smartphone industry has desperately tried to convince us that carrying a device with the weight, bulk, and thickness of a garden brick is a perfectly reasonable trade-off for the novelty of a folding screen. We have watched competitor after competitor release flagship devices that quite literally feel like two distinct phones uncomfortably glued together. However, a highly detailed physical mock-up of Apple's heavily guarded, long-rumored foldable device has just surfaced within the supply chain network, and it completely rewrites the current rules of engagement. What is genuinely interesting here is not merely the confirmation that Apple is finally preparing to enter the foldable arena. It is the sheer, unapologetic engineering ambition hidden within the physical footprint of this prototype. If these leaked measurements translate directly to the final production line, Apple is not simply building a folding phone. They are attempting to engineer the thinnest, most space-efficient portable computer we have seen in our lifetimes. For those of us who utilize our technology primarily as high-level tools for business, wealth management, and actual daily productivity, the concept of a folding phone has always held a very specific, undeniable allure. A pocketable, unobtrusive device that seamlessly transforms into a proper, readable digital canvas is essentially the holy grail for a mobile professional. Yet up until this exact moment, the daily compromises have heavily outweighed the theoretical benefits. Fragile internal hinges, highly visible screen creases, and deeply frustrating, narrow cover displays have kept many seasoned veterans holding tightly to their traditional, reliable slab smartphones. We research heavily before making a capital investment in a new daily driver, and frankly, we hate cheap marketing hype. This newly surfaced physical model, however, commands immediate respect. According to reliable sources deeply embedded within the Asian manufacturing sector, this is an advanced physical tooling mockup, representing the precise volumetric footprint that Apple's hardware architecture team is currently targeting. Let's carefully break down exactly what this hardware reveals, and more importantly, what it means for your actual day-to-day workflow. Let us start with the most staggering numerical data from this hardware leak. When fully deployed into its tablet configuration, the internal specifications point to a device thickness of just 4.6 millimeters. To put that engineering feat into perspective, that is substantially thinner than the current flagship iPhone Pro models, practically rivaling the chassis depth of a standard USB-C charging port. When folded completely shut, the overall thickness is rumored to sit right around the 9mm mark. This is a profound architectural achievement. Most premium foldables on the market today hover around 12 to 14 millimeters when closed, making them inherently cumbersome inside a tailored suit jacket or a standard trouser pocket. At 9 millimeters, this prototype will feel almost indistinguishable from the standard device you are likely carrying right now. The absolute smartest observation regarding the design lies in the chosen aspect ratio. The dominant players in the foldable space have largely opted for a form factor that mimics a tall television remote when closed, which is incredibly narrow and deeply frustrating to type on. This leaked Apple prototype completely abandons that flawed philosophy. Instead, the footprint heavily resembles a traditional international passport. When closed, you get a wider, more natural cover screen that allows for comfortable, accurate two-handed typing on a standard digital keyboard. When opened, it reveals a proper landscape-oriented canvas. Those of us who remember the classic era of 4:3 office monitors understand exactly why this matters. A wider aspect ratio is infinitely superior for reviewing complex PDF contracts, navigating dense financial spreadsheets, or viewing multi-track timelines. Now let's separate the real leaks from the noise, because there is one highly controversial element present on this physical prototype. The front-facing camera array is not located in the top center where the dynamic island currently resides. Instead, it appears pushed entirely into the upper corner of the display module. This is a jarring aesthetic choice for a company that traditionally mandates absolute symmetry. Why would Apple authorize this? This could actually matter because understanding the internal physics of a 4.6mm chassis explains the compromise. The mechanical footprint of a heavy-duty reinforced steel hinge demands a massive amount of central real estate inside the phone. There's likely no physical space left in the center for complex optical sensors and logic board connections. Regarding the rear cameras, physics remains undefeated. You simply cannot fit a massive 5x optical telephoto lens barrel into a device this thin. Expect a highly refined dual-lens system that relies heavily on next-generation computational photography driven by a top-tier silicon chip. This brings us directly to the most critical technical bottleneck of the entire project: battery life and thermal management. Driving a massive high refresh rate internal display alongside a standard cover display requires immense power. Back in the early days of mobile tech, carrying a spare battery pack in a briefcase was standard practice. Today, we rightfully demand true, uncompromising all-day endurance. Standard lithium-ion pouch batteries will not fit into a 4.6mm housing in a capacity large enough to power this machine effectively. Industry insiders suggest Apple will have to utilize cutting-edge silicon-carbon battery technology. Silicon carbon allows for significantly higher energy density, meaning the engineers can pack more milliamp hours into a physically smaller, thinner space without creating a thermal hazard. On the software front, the wider aspect ratio strongly suggests a pivot in how iPadOS and iOS will integrate. We are likely looking at a hybridized operating system that allows for true desktop-class multitasking. Imagine snapping 3 full-sized applications side by side on the internal screen without the UI feeling cramped or compromised. The goal here is to eliminate the need to carry both a phone and a dedicated tablet when traveling for business. Finally, we must critically address the inevitable financial reality of this hardware. High-end foldables from established competitors currently retail anywhere from $1,600 to nearly $2,000. Considering Apple's historical pricing strategy and the exorbitant research and development costs associated with custom hinge tooling and advanced battery chemistry, you must prepare for a significant capital investment. Reliable whispers currently peg the entry-level price of this folding flagship well north of $2,000, easily approaching $2,500 for higher storage configurations. So what is our trusted takeaway from all of this highly technical data? What is actually believable and what might just be early prototyping fluff? The 9mm closed thickness and the wider, productivity-focused passport aspect ratio are highly credible and incredibly welcome. Apple has a very long established history of waiting patiently for the right moment to release a refined, perfected version of a technology that others have been publicly beta testing on their own user base. The awkward, corner-mounted camera, however, feels like a temporary engineering workaround rather than a final, polished design signature. I fully expect the design team to iterate heavily on that specific detail before authorizing mass production. This specific device could genuinely change the fundamental landscape of mobile computing for serious professionals. If you can confidently leave your dedicated tablet at the office and accomplish all of your daily document review, email triage, and workflow management on a single, pocketable device that does not weigh down your jacket, the return on investment becomes remarkably apparent. Yes, the staggering price tag will undoubtedly act as a natural, aggressive filter, keeping this device exclusive to power users who view their smartphone as an essential high-performance tool rather than a casual entertainment screen. But at the end of the day, it is not about flashy, gimmicky aesthetics. It is about consolidating your entire digital workflow into the most efficient, beautifully engineered package physically possible. To summarize the most critical takeaways from this deep hardware dive, we are closely tracking a radical, ambitious redesign aiming for a staggering 4.6mm open profile. It features a wider, much more practical passport aspect ratio, advanced internal mechanics targeting a flawlessly crease-free display, and a premium executive-tier price tag that reflects its distinct status as a flagship 2-in-1 productivity machine. The rigorous engineering constraints regarding thermal battery management and camera sensor placement remain the absolute largest hurdles the company faces before this device ever hits store shelves. Now I want to turn the conversation over to you, the experienced veterans of the tech space. Assuming the engineering team perfectly nails the hardware durability and the software integration is seamless, does a $2,000 plus price tag make logical sense for a single device that genuinely replaces both your traditional daily smartphone and your tablet? Drop your honest, unfiltered thoughts in the comments section below. If you appreciate detailed, no-nonsense hardware analysis that respects your time, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more advanced breakdowns, and I will catch you all in the next review.